So Takeover was really good. In other news, humans breathe oxygen. I don't know what to say. Every takeover is usually really damn good. Like even the most lackluster ones, like Takeover Unstoppable, is still really good. Like there's still good stuff there, they're good matches and overall a decent show. I've never takeovers are usually never bad. So yeah, what did you expect? I'm gonna make this quick. This is probably gonna be a short video, so I'm just gonna make this quick. The show started with a Pompey concert, which fine. It's a musical performance, which I normally don't like in wrestling shows, but it was at the beginning of the show. It was fine. So it's fine, and it's fine when you use it for wrestlers' entrance fees. It's in the middle of the show where I really dislike it. So hey, it's fine. First, we started off with the North American Championship, Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. I think this is probably the best match they've had so far. There were a lot of great spots in this match. Some very interesting moves that they pulled out. Especially, my favorite moment in this match was Dominik Dijakovic doing a springboard senton onto Keith Lee, who was sitting in a chair by the announce table. That was excellent. But eventually Keith Lee hits the Big Bang Catastrophe and wins predictably. It was predictable that Keith Lee was going to retain. Next up, Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox. A very hard hitting match. A good use of weapons back and forth. Pretty brutal match, honestly. So it was really good. I am not a huge fan though of the finish, where they just have this random woman who, from what I've heard on commentary, is called Raquel Gonzalez, who is apparently someone from the Performance Center. She just came out and tossed Tegan Nox at the table, and it didn't break. So that was bad. So yeah, not a huge fan of the finish, but the match itself was really damn good. So just because of the finish, this is probably the weakest match on the card, purely because of the finish. Because if it had a better finish, this match would have easily been one of the best. Then Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Again, really good. Not as good as I thought it was going to be, but then again, my expectation was probably way too high. Sorry, indigestion. But yeah, it was a really good match. Love the Carnage outfit that Johnny had on. But yeah, it was a really cool back and forth match. And surprisingly enough, Finn won clean as a sheet. But considering what happened later on in the night, maybe there's a reason for that. But yeah, Finn wins after hitting the coup de grace into the 1916. So yeah. Next up, the NXT Women's Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. It's a little funny. I said in my predictions video that I refused to refer to the NXT Women's Championship as the NXT Championship because of the confusing nature. Well, apparently NXT has abandoned that. I guess they heard all the feedback from people saying it was a stupid decision. And apparently they agreed, so it's like, okay, it's the NXT Women's Championship again. Because they kept referring to it in video packages, on commentary, and even the ring announcer didn't say NXT Champion, she said NXT Women's Championship. So apparently they backpedaled on that decision, which is good. Again, if you're not going to call the title something else, I don't see the point in making two titles have the same name on NXT, so I'm glad they scrapped that idea. So, good on them. Match itself was really damn good. There was some cool spots here and there, especially two spots I remember were Rhea Ripley was on the top rope and she slapped Bianca. Bianca slaps her around. Those are really hard. Those felt like really hard slaps. But ultimately, Bianca breaks up that pattern by whipping Rhea with her hair, and she sold it pretty well too. And then there's a second one where Bianca's against the ropes. Rhea runs at her, and Bianca bounces Rhea over her head, and she goes vertically and lands pretty damn hard on the outside. So yeah, that looks nasty. But in the end, they get on the turnbuckle. Rhea goes for a sunset powerbomb on Bianca, but she holds on. Rhea then grabs Bianca's arm, yanks her down, and she hits the turnbuckle. Riptide from the turnbuckle. 1, 2, 3. Rhea retains. Then after the match, she's jumped by Charlotte. Charlotte gets a microphone and says, "I've been thinking about it, and I guess I'll see you at WrestleMania." So there's your match set. We got our second match for WrestleMania set in stone. It's Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Then she stomps on Rhea, walks out, and proceeds to throw Bianca into the steel steps. So maybe she might be involved in something? I'm not entirely sure. It would be a huge disservice if you did that and then decided, you know what, we're going to have Bianca at WrestleMania in the pointless pre-show battle royal. WWE, I implore you, don't do a pointless pre-show battle royal this year. I really hate that match so much. Please stop doing it. Anyway. Next up we have the Broserweights versus the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team titles. Again, really damn good match. And it kept me guessing a couple of times as to who was going to win, because there was a lot of miscommunications between teammates. There was a lot of moments where I thought the match was going to end. But ultimately, the Broserweights pulled it out in the end and managed to win the tag team titles. If you watch my predictions video so far, everything I said was right. Keith Lee retained, Dakota won, Finn Balor won, Rhea Ripley retained, the Broserweights are your new tag team champions, and that leaves only one match. Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. And this match was excellent. What I loved especially during the beginning of this match was just how Ciampa just evaded, was able to counter pretty much everything Adam Cole threw at him. Ciampa just turned things around in a big way and just absolutely destroyed Adam Cole in it, because he just needed to win this match. One moment I thought was funny was they're in the timekeepers area, and Tommaso just laid out Adam Cole with something, and one of the he's close to the fans, and one fan in particular just is cheering him on and telling him to give him a high five. Ciampa instead grabs the fan's head and just kisses his forehead instead, and continues the match from there. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of hard-hitting spots, especially one where Adam Cole does a wheelbarrow German suplex onto the announce table. That looked nasty as hell. I have seen some people are a little critical of one thing about this match, and that's how many finisher kickouts there were. And I understand that. I understand that sentiment. But it was... but honestly, I think in a match like this, where you have something like Tommaso Ciampa just being so resolute to win this match, and you built this match up so much that you could have an epic feel about it, just like the Cole Gargano matches. So yeah, I don't mind it too much, but I do understand why people don't like that. Anyway, I think the biggest talking point is the finish. Tommaso Ciampa's just taking out all the members of the Undisputed Era who came out to try and help Cole. He goes over to the NXT Championship, and then suddenly Johnny Gargano shows up. He grabs the title, pulls it away from Ciampa for a moment. When Ciampa gets through into the ropes and it's like, "What are you doing?" And Johnny just looks at the title for a little moment, and then proceeds to bash Ciampa over the head with the title. Cole gets on top of Ciampa. 1, 2, 3. 3. Cole retains. Clean sweep in my predictions, by the way. Gargano has turned heel, by the way. And I think I'm 99% sure that means at TakeOver Tampa Bay, we're getting another Ciampa Gargano match. Oh, that's gonna be good. After all, the matches they had a year, 2 years ago, I'm not sure how long it's been, are fantastic matches. In fact, their match at TakeOver New Orleans is one of my all-time favorite matches. Like, top 10 favorite matches, it's up there. It was so damn good. And this match could very well do that as well. Especially now that we get an interesting dynamic where the roles are reversed. Ciampa's the face, Gargano is the heel. Ooh, this is gonna be good. Only thing I'm a little bit interested in knowing, though, is this. Who's gonna face Adam Cole? Because you imagine that since now both the North American Championship and the Tag Team titles have left the Undisputed Era, with Cole being the only one left, you'd think at TakeOver Tampa Bay that's where Cole is going to lose his NXT Championship. But the question is, to who? Who is going to be the one to take the title from him? I'm uncertain about that. I mean, it could be anybody, really, but I am really not certain who it's going to be. But yeah, that's TakeOver Portland. It was a great show, but then again, do you expect anything else when you watch a TakeOver? It's always going to be a great show. So yeah, nothing more to say really.